なのね。夢を追って傷ついて嘘が下手なくせに笑えない笑顔を見せた。 I love you もろくに言わない。口下手でほんまに不器用なのにどうしてさよならは言えたの。ダメだね、ダメよ、ダメなのよ。あんたが好きで好きすぎてどれだけ強いお酒でも歪まない思い出がバカみたい。バカみたい、ほんとバカね。あんた信じるばかりで強い女のふり、切なさの夜風浴びる。一人になって3年が過ぎ街並みさえも変わりました。なのにどうして未練だけ置き去り。ほんまにろくな男やない。揃いの指輪外します。
Hello everyone, my name is Notepad and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today exactly? We are going to be... Go away. We are going to be working on Tabletalk Online, obviously. And Tabletalk Online, I've actually broken down what we actually need to be doing on it. And here's our to-do list. Equipment, magic, races, advancement, enemies, and guilds and dungeoneering. As you see, yes. So what did I do yesterday? So if we go down to classes, I did clarify the class skills a little bit more. I'm just going to make these the class skills. I actually looked around quite a bit for JRPGs that use a skill system, and weirdly enough, not many do. It's a lot of front-loaded information and a lot of just these. So I said, you know what, screw it. Let's go for it and see what we can do and see what we can have fun with it. So, shield quality still needs to get fixed. I did give rogues one-handed martial weapons instead of one-handed basic weapons, just to give them a little bit more oomph behind things, make them a little bit more melee-oriented. Wizards, obviously awful. And priests, the healer got renamed to the priest, and they got a few new things. Really, they just got a lot of things like divine protection. Healer negates all damage meant for them on a single target for half their mana, as well as word of faith. Healer infuses elemental energy in all party members within 15 feet radius, are for that purposes grand equal to 2 to 1 ratio on the mana spent. What this means is that the priest turns more into the support class. You can probably call it the support, and literally nothing would change. However, I want to keep with the theme, roughly speaking. We also have the races of Thetos, the Tabletop Online setting. And I actually asked a lot of people to give me the most bare minimum generic-ass MMORPG races physically possible. And they delivered. So here are our races. Humans, elves, big humans, dwarves, lizard people, animal people. Done. I'll take my royalty check. Thank you very much. What other things did get changed a little bit? Did I add a new defense action, or did I go back on that? No, I did not add a new defense action. Oh yes. So, oh god, I need to fix all the Isekai classes, but we're not worried about that. I added the captain. Now, the captain is exactly. The captain is a class that is somewhat akin to the priest, but it's a little bit more of a frontline priest. While the priest is more sticking to the back, defending themselves, keeping everyone healthy, the captain is supposed to be in the fray, giving orders, and assisting the troops up front. So you get things like die later, pretty much. You just cast protect on people for will plus mana, go, order casting haste on them till the end of their next turn, and a lot of just fairly useful supporty actions. Their big one is Rally Call, which is a complex action, pretty much 2 stamina, and you give all your allies within 15 feet of you +1 stamina. Which if you go first, if you have a captain with a pretty high dex and you manage to go first, you manage to give you're pretty much giving a net positive for the amount of stamina you're getting. Which is very good, because you can, if you cast it at the end of your turn, and that means everyone kind of gets that +1 stamina for the next turn, it means everyone's going to have 6 stamina start, which is pretty good. Or, hey, this person really is going to need something because he's going to get attacked. Okay, I'm going to cast Rally Call on him. That means he gets a little bit more stamina to assist him. So in the pairing anything with the captain pretty much makes you a very supporty. A healer captain is very supporty. Like, you actually don't, like, the captain doesn't actually have any really valuable attacking options. But because their entire thing is based around making sure other people live. Let's see. I did fix up a little bit here. Just make things a little bit okay. So, Summoner. Summoner I was having some issues with, because any games with Summoners in them are actually incredibly rare. And I actually had to look around a lot to try to find a good way of doing it, and I couldn't. So I had to come up with something entirely by myself, and this sucks. But it works. Pretty much the idea is that the summoner is area denial. They are your AoE. Well, actually, not even really AoE, area denial character. And what that means is their entire thing is controlling the battlefield to their advantage. So the big thing is familiar. That's your class ability. That means you pretty much have an extra set of hands, hands, eyes, ears, everything. They're very useful and pretty much gives the summoner a lot more utility to do things, because effectively you have another set of hands that allow you to carry things, interact with objects and such, which is very useful in case, like, hey, no one's going to really react if there's a cat nearby, spying on them, for example. That's very much a roleplay tool, but it's a very useful tool. But in their talents, Summon Elemental was one of my bigger issues, but pretty much the idea is you summon forth an elemental and you shoot a beam out in front of you 15 feet, which is very, very evil because you are pretty much zoning that entire area for a lot of damage. So in case you hit multiple enemies, you're doing damage to them. Mostly you do even more damage in case they're weak against it, which is kind of their big thing. You're denying an area. Summon minions is pretty much spend a lot of mana and get a lot of minions that don't do much. Minions don't actually do that much damage, but that's not the point of them. The point is to bog down the enemy. It is to surround them with 5 crappy minions that are going to hit them for 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, and die. But that's also a stamina they have to spend to kill that minion. It's a stamina they have to spend to move. It's just you're burning away their stamina to assist you and your people from kind of positioning and making sure that people are protected. Summon Dreadnought is your big scary guy who you slap down in a place and he's going to smack anyone that gets close. He's going to smack them, and that's it. That's their entire job. Oh no, this enemy is getting slightly close to our backline. Smack! Go away. Oh no, he's getting a little bit close. Smack! Go away. And then we have our 2 utility abilities. You have Summon Assistant. Pretty much as long as you have mana, you can keep the Assistant to give people more ability to use checks. And a Summon Ethereal Being, which is pretty much giving you eyes and ears across the dungeon or across the area without having to interact, per se, with the world around you. It's phase through walls, phase through enemies. The only problem is, again, you can't really use it inside combat. It's not really useful inside of combat. But that's the summoner's thing. It is area denial, it is protecting your backlines, and you can use them to be offensive. Picture you slap down a Dreadnought right in the middle of a fight. He's going to start smacking things he doesn't like. And you can't really kill the summon. You can just merely try to dismiss it, or make the summoner retreat, dismissing it like that. But that's kind of the thing. If a summoner really wants to step back into like a tank summoner, where the entire idea is run forward, summon the Dreadnought in the middle of it, and just have the Dreadnought kill everything that you don't like, as you two are the ones getting in there, smacking and smacking back. Let's see. Still haven't fixed the Ranger up yet, but we have to wait till pretty much the end to do that. Aside of that, everything was pretty basic across the board. Let me just... I did a little bit of patching up on the equipment, just +1 stamina. So, but we are going to be working on equipment really today. And I'm just going through and just making sure, fix the buffs up a little bit, just to make sure that things actually work properly. What else am I looking for? No, everything looks pretty good to me. So, we're going to be working on equipment. Actually, what I should do is I should go to health first. HP is their life and ability to keep fine. As long as they have 1 HP, they operate normally. When they hit 0 HP, they have been knocked unconscious. Kill resurrection may be available. I'm going to have to probably fix the health equation up, because the health equation so far is 5 plus 5 times vitality. That's the current... that's the current equation. So, let's see. No one rushes in the battle with fists and skivvies. Bare essentials, basic arms and armor. Okay, so... obviously, we're going to select all of our melee weapons. We are going to be going into our... Hippity hoppity, let's find out. Okay, there we go. So... okay, let's move the tags over by 1. And we're going to say martial or basic. And see how our martial weapons are looking. Martial. I'm already noticing a small issue when it comes to all these things, because there's a lot of martial weapons and not a lot else. Basic. Might be a better idea to... might actually be a better idea to split these up into 2 charts. Like, here's basic weapons, here's martial weapons. That might be a better idea. Martial, placed with space. M-A-R-I-T-A-L. M-A-R-I-T-I-L. Space. Replace all. Martial. There we go. Martial. And that means we also have to select everything here. Control F, hit that, find everything with the word basic, replace with a space. All instances of basic, and that means we're allowed to do this, and which allows me to do hippity hoppity. I completely fucked that up. Awesome. What the hell? Alright, so martial basic Martial, Martial. Pretty much what I want to do is characters that are skilled in these things, I want to make feel skilled. That's the point. Which is kind of a redundant thing to say, but I don't want people who are... Actually, no, that would be martial. No, that would be basic. Basic. Martial. Marshall and Marshall. I want people to feel impactful with the weapon they have. So let's actually do a quick check. Data, create filter. So we have a grand total of 8 basic weapons and quite a few. Let's see, 18 martial weapons. That's a pretty decent split. Not perfect, but it's decent. But what about this damage? Oof, this damage looks way off. Okay, so let's take a moment to think, shall we? So, a first level character is, let's say we're going to be playing a fairly bog standard character. Let's say we're going to play a tank. Actually, let's say a warrior rogue. I'm going to have 1 vitality, plus 5, so I'm going to have 10 health in total. Yeah, let's see, warrior, yeah, actually, I'm going to have 5 plus vitality times 5. Vit times 5. So that means if I have 1, I'm going to have 10 HP. That would be your default, so... I'm going to have to fix health up, won't I? Fraggle Rock, okay. So let's do the health. Didn't think I was going to have to do this, but here we are doing this. Points of mana points. No mana points cannot use. So, if we're using this as our basic calculation right here, that means on average, if we have about a 3 to 4, let's say we have a 3 vitality. Actually, no, that's pretty high. 2 vitality. That means we would have 5 plus 10 equal 15 HP. So unless we bump it up to let's check Sword World out real fast. Because you haven't realized yet, Sword World is somewhat of a inspiration here. Wow, this is very handy. Human Warrior. Wow, this is useless. Tell me how you do health. That's all I want to know, is how you do health. Okay, so characters restore. So I need to increase the health amounts, probably, if we're going with this idea. Player characters and PCs tell me how much health I have. Ability bonus. Fortitude and willpower. Write down fortitude, willpower, maximum HP. Page 80. Okay, I need to find page 80 now. Combat feats. Game mastering. Give me classes. Son of a bitch. Okay, so what would be some other games that are equivalent? Can't use Tenra. We just add them together. Make that the idea. They just add these 2 points together. So that would mean a warrior rogue. So let's just say warrior rogue would have 15 HP. But a tank wizard would have 25 HP. Warrior tank would have 30 HP. So we apply this basic calculation to 5 times vit times 5. That's 5 plus vit times 5. And that means damage is way off mark, because that you can instantly die to anything then. If you're weak enough, literally anything can kill you. That's not right. Okay, so we need to redo health entirely then. Inspiration juice, ho! Alright, so, in this episode of Notepad completely forgets how to actually write a game, I need to redo health. Because I thought health was fine, health is not fine. So if we go for bigger number health, let's see, health calculation. Health calculation. So let's actually check health. Let's see, hit die D8. My character level 3 cleric. Yeah, with a modifier of 1. So 21 health, and that's at level 3. HP at level 1. 6, okay. And these characters are going to naturally have to be a little bit tougher. So that would make... What would be another good game that I can base this around? Because I'm basing this off MMOs mostly, and MMOs don't really have... I'm basing the mechanics off MMOs, but MMOs don't really have a good health calculation. To the notebook, to Keeper, who has all my answers. Unless I want to do something completely different. That is technically an option. I can just go do something completely goddamn different. Do a wound system or something, but I don't think that works. Tenra Bancho Zero, tell me, Tenra. Tell me your health calculations, so I can learn from them. Yeah, it's hard to actually find it because it's literally all D&D stuff, and D&D doesn't really help me at all. Because D&D is trash. Basic attacks, karma, basic combat, scenario. Come on, give me 427. Alright, I'm gonna have to just come up with a calculation on my own. Tenra isn't really helping, because Tenra doesn't usually use traditional health that way, but we need to use a fairly traditional health system for this kind of game. So, let's say 10 plus Vit times 5. We do the 10, that would be Warrior with 1 Vit would be 15 health. We do that for each class. So on average, your health is going to be in the 30s. So yeah, that means your health is going to be roughly in the 30s equivalent. So that would be, let's see, no, it would be 20s to 30s. 30 is with plus 5 for each additional Vit. I'm just going to add in the advancement section a little bit more details with health bonuses. Let's get a flat big health bonus somewhere along the route. Okay. I think I'm going to use that, so oh man, points cannot use mat. Character's health HP is calculated per class by 10 plus Vit times 5. While a character's MP is calculated per class by, I'll actually call that 5 plus MND times 5. So if we use this basic idea for these down here, that would be with Warrior with 1, that would have 15 HP. That would be 15, 25. Rogue would have 10. Wizard 10. Healer 10. You add those together. Add the results. Add the result together to have the character's full HP and MP. Okay, so that should make characters a little hardier. Actually, what's the mind of mind 2 and 3? So that would be 15 and 20, respectively. So actually, yeah, you get a little bit more. Actually, no. Mine times 5. Yeah, that works. You get a little bit more leeway. Mana's a little bit harder to get. Mana's a little bit harder to get overall. In case you're wondering why I'm silent, I'm hearing a ringing noise. I think that's my neighbor. Okay, so we've got health sorted out roughly. So that means we can start sorting out equipment again. Because the basic idea, so let's assume our basic health is about 25. Base health of average PC. That's what we can assume. We can actually also assume physical resistance is around 2. So they get to negate about 2 points of damage regardless of the situation. So I want to try to use D6s for everything. So our basic weapons are going to do the lowest amount of damage. An attribute bonus to damage. No, we're just using strength, aren't we? Yeah, we're just using strength or dex, not vet. Actually, should we use vet? Half of me wants to use vet, the other half of me doesn't. Oh, Guinness, give me a call. Give me 1 second, folks. Hippity hoppity, here I am. But to answer your question, a lot of them are public domain. I usually get it from like Fine Art America, and that's usually what pops up the second I Google it. So that's why a lot of them have the stock images on it. It's just like, well, this is technically just a stock image of said thing. As of right now, Links, I am working on damage, because damage numbers are fun. Right, everyone? Right. Equipment, yay. Sherlock Show. let's make the base assumption that all basic weapons can't have more than 3. So, club for 2d6, frog sphere for 2d6, gauntlet's going to be 1d6, hand axe going to be 2d6, knife 1d6, mace is going to be a solid 2d6, but it has the stun. Short sword is going to be 3d6, but it has just a concealable trait, nothing else. And spear is going to have, let's call it 2d6. And staff 1d6. You're trying to base all the damage around single variables like this. A lot easier said than done. Alright, now we're going into... Should I actually make the mace basic or keep it up martial? I'm going to keep it up to martial. 3d6, axe, 3d6, ball and chain, 4d6. That means you have a maximum of 24 damage. But it's unwieldy, so you get a penalty using it inside. And that's going to be 4d6 or 5d6, depending on how you're wielding it. Strength or dex, strength or dex. See, half of me still wants to cut this entire section. I don't know. Battle axe. God. Not a two-handed weapon, so we're going to want to make it do more damage. I wish I had actually something else to go off of other than just me guessing. Does anyone else from GDG show up to these? Yes. Once in a blue moon. If I can convince people to show up. But not... Honestly, I usually get about, I have about 3 consistent viewers. The rest are not very consistent in the slightest. Let's see, I have 24 followers, and probably about 3 of them are, relatively active, you included. Words, one's also here. One hand, required strength, impact. What's the impact? A result in the roll 2d6 when compared to the chart ranging 3 to 12 for dependent damage calculations. Oh, sweet Christ, what the fuck? Yeah, pretty much. Oh, crickety Christ. Okay, that's not helping me much. What's a good place for damage numbers? That's all I need is damage numbers. Because I want to make sure that this game can be almost entirely played with d6s, unless I want to redo the entire damage system. Or I want to redo the entire damage system. That's going to be something completely different. God damn. Well, let's think about it like this. Consistently, as doing damage. You want to do damage with a sword. I want to stab you with the sword. How much damage does that do? Obviously, if this is an MMO world, it's going to do a X amount of damage because have X, Y, and Z attribute. And that's hard to actually work with. Fuck. Yeah. I just have to use damage numbers, don't I? Shit. Unless I just make these solid numbers again. That could be an option. Make them solid numbers. So your damage variable is less coming from how you attack rather than it's pretty much with what you're attacking with. So instead of like, okay, I'm going to roll 3d6 and hit you for this much, it's going to be, I'm going to roll to hit you. If I hit, I'm just going to do X amount of damage. Not even work, God. Hi, phone. If I go with consistent damage, it's going to be effectively that. You don't have a lot of variation in your damage. Like if you say I'm going to roll 8 damage, you're going to do 8 damage regardless, minus whatever their physical resistance is. So it's more an attrition game at that point with that, not a lot of randomization in it. You'd be able to kind of tell who's going to win by virtue of just who's doing more damage. But if you have a little bit more randomization in your God, what's a good No, you guys can't see this, but I have a folder called Keeper. It's in one of my thumb drives, which is literally just a bunch of games I have completely and legally acquired over time. I'm actually looking at all of these like, give me numbers, give me something to work with, please, God. JRPGs don't actually help that much. Let's check, not Burning Wheel. Begone, Burning Wheel. You're a great game in any other situation, but not this one. Weapons. There we go. Come on there. Barbarians of Lumeria, please. Tell me how much damage how I can do combat. Who acts first? Calamitous failure. Movement, distance, resolving attacks. Alright, damage D3. hit your target, you need to know how badly you hurt them, her, or it, him, her, or it. To do this, roll 1 to 2 dice, depending on the weapon being used, directly against light blood. Roll D3. Easily concealable weapon. I was using above. Roll a D6 and a penalty die with the lowest die in your damage result. So add in a. That'd be almost completely radically different than. So something akin to, let's say, because I effectively want damage to be randomized, but not too randomized. So let's say light weapon, let's say each weapon rolls a d6 plus strength. Actually, light weapons do d6. Medium weapons do 2d6. Heavy weapons do 3d6. So if we just base it off of that, light weapons doing d6, medium weapons doing 2d6, heavy doing 3d6. And then we can say basic weapons doing what, D3? Yeah, okay. Alright, so if we go off this idea, we can effectively designate damage. We can effectively call this more the damage class. So a club would be a light weapon. Frog spear would be light. Gauntlet would be basic. Hand axe, light. Knife, basic. Mace, light. Actually, mace would be medium. Short sword, light. Spear, light. Staff, basic. Then you just add whatever your attribute is. So at higher levels, you're doing more consistent damage because you're pretty much adding your attribute bonus rather than the damage, and then we can actually pile on with the bonus dice here, allowing you to say, okay, well, I'm going to make my damage d6 plus d6 or something like that. Okay. So axe. This is just like a basic battle axe man who goes hit you with an axe. That's going to be medium. Ball and chain is going to be heavy. Bastard sword is going to be medium or heavy, depending on how you choose to use it. Battle axe is going to be heavy. Actually, what I should add is super heavy weapons. Super heavy weapon, 46. Boar spear, medium. Crowbill, light. But I'm going to give it, actually I'm going to give it like pierce, like 3 or something. Flail, this is going to be medium. Great sword, heavy. Guard dagger, light. Halberd, heavy. Long axe, heavy. Pike, heavy. Poleaxe, heavy. Rapier, light. Saber, light. Stiletto, light. Sword, medium. Warhammer, heavy. Alright. Okay, and this works. So let's take a look. Clubs are ubiquitous. Frog spears are ubiquitous. This is pretty much your option. Like, do I want to hit you with a hammer or do I want to stab you with a little spear? Not exactly a big thing option. It's just more valuable to have. Freehand. I always like having the gauntlet somewhere in here, as it's the I just want to punch people. That's my ability, is to punch. Let's see. Okay, should sort that down a little bit lower. And concealable. Concealable. So the knife is basic. It's concealable. Short sword is light, but basic. Concealable. Actually, what I'm going to put is ubiquitous. Yeah, ubiquitous, concealable. Short swords is just concealable. Spear, long distance melee. And Dex Revit. And staff is literally just ubiquitous. Not really useful for anything. And I'm actually going to take out the Dex part of it. It's just going to be strength or vitality. Stun 1, very valuable. Pierce 1. Yeah, I can work with that. Ball and chain. Unwieldy, obvious. Stun 1. That works. Bastard sword has the switch. Pretty much allows you to do one hand or two hand, depending on how you feel like. And battle axe, heavy, pierce 2. Two-handed. I'm actually going to bump the pierce up to 3. Make it a little bit more valuable. Trusting just the axe. Boar spear, ubiquitous. Gory. Gory allows for some pretty nasty combinations. What I should actually do is allow, big crits on that. Crowbill is going to have Pierce 3. But the entire idea of the Crowbill is that you are not doing actually that much damage. You're just piercing armor really good with it. Flail, Unwieldy, obvious, stun 2. Yeah, that works. Two-handed. Actually, we'll slap and gory on there. Guard, dagger, dual wield. Long distance melee and two-handed. Long distance melee, pierce 2 and two-handed. Actually make that super heavy. So, like, you can't, like, no one can really use a long axe, really. The pike, long distance melee. And two-handed. Obvious, unwieldy. Poleaxe and stun 2. Oh, what I should do is add the gory tag here. Rapier, graceful. Concealable and dual wield. Stiletto and concealable. Sword, nothing. But it's also a sword, so. And two-handed. stun 2 and two-handed, which is very nice because it's the only weapon that actually does stun 2. Outside the flail, which is awful. Because heavy weapons do 3d6. Okay. If I want to, I can actually break this up into... You know what? I think I am going to break this up into various classes. So let's take... We're going to make this the axe section. So, begone axe. Put down the mace section here. And we'll just move the swords up. And then we'll put spears right down here. Spears. Club. Crowbill, I'd call that more of an axe than anything. Flail, I'll call that a mace. Frog spear. Gauntlet, I'll put that under mace, I guess. It's not really mace, but screw it. I make the rules here. Great sword. Put the halberd down there. Put the knife up there. Hand axe is going to go right here. Long axe. Mace, obviously. Pike is going to be a spear. Pole axe has axe in the name, so I'm just going to put it right there. Right here. Saber, short sword. Staff, I'm actually going to make staffs their own thing. Actually, I'm going to make it a staff. And which brings me to Warhammer. Okay. So. Axe category, mace category, spear category, staff category, sword category. Okie dokie then. We're going to actually do a little bit of finagling around. We're going to call this weapons. We're going to call this the weapons tab, or Weapon Sunna tab. So we have our swords. We like swords. Swords are awesome. However, we're going to also split these up into 5 ranks. Quickly, rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, and rank 5. Effectively, my idea for ranks are going to be fairly simple. Rank 1 is going to be your literally available to everyone ever. Common folk. Rank 2 is guards and starting adventurers. Adventurers. Seasoned adventurers. Epic loot. Unique loot. Actually, do I want to do that? Sword World RPG. Let's go. Let's go back to Sword World. We want to go to... Give me items. Because we're going to go a little bit weird. fuck is a shamshir? It's a curved okay. Alright. Let's see. We want rank. 4 ranks. BAS and SS. So we're gonna have rank 1 can be used by anyone. Actually, can be used by anyone. Can be used by the trained. Can only be used by those specialized. There we go. Boom. And we're going to actually shift over our tags by 1 step. Yep. And equipment rank. Rank 1, rank 2, rank 2, rank 2, rank 2, rank 1, rank 2, rank 2, and rank 2. These are fairly bog standard swords. Of course, we have to go into the really weird swords. Also, I like the fact that the Zweihände and the greatsword are 2 separate weapons, and the greatsword is technically a better version of the Zweihänder. So, our big ol' sword. Okay, so Zweihände. We'll call it the super heavy weapon. Gotta use your strength or Vit for it. It is a martial weapon, and it's rank 3. And it is 2-handed, gory, and obvious. We need more really exotic, weird swords. Oh. Boom, obviously. What the fuck is a Flissa? Flissa is nothing. Flissa sword. Melon has his to a degree. But again, this is the entire idea behind it is, yeah, they are tied to class. That's the thing. It's one of the things is, okay, let's take like warrior for example. The warrior has the ability to use any martial weapons of his choice, as well as medium armor, medium shields. What I should say is martial weapons rank 2 if I'm going to do this. Why I decided to do this is I still wanted to give it a little bit of leeway. I want the warriors to be able to kind of select what weapons they want. I want the tanks to be able to say, okay, well, I want this one-handed weapon. I want this kind of sword. I want to use this. Like, a tank isn't going to be the one to bring out their giant two-handed battle axe. That's not the tank's job. The tank is going to be kind of constrained into using, I can use a sword, I can use an axe, I can use a mace. Those are going to be my big abilities there. I'm not going to be able to really use much else. So there's kind of this indirect kind of tying to the class. Like, as the rogue, you can use one-handed martial weapons. You may say, oh, well, that gives you a lot of options. Yeah, but you also have no strength starting, and you can use light armor. So you have no incentive to use anything that's really going to be using that. You're going to be naturally kind of leaning toward the, oh, hey, I'm going to use the guard dagger, and I'm going to use the saber. Or I'm going to be using... It's kind of the indirectly pushing you, but I don't want to say to a player, sorry, you chose this class, you can't use that sword, Lamau loser. I don't want to say that to them. That's kind of a dick move in my opinion. That's just me though. Or like the wizard can really only use basic weapons, i.e. they're not very good at anything. Kind of this ranking system. Because here's some philosophy time with Notepad. I'm kind of caught in between two worlds when it comes to this. On one hand, I can go full MMO. The problem with going full MMO is that MMOs are fundamentally computer games. Is that a lot of things are already automated that aren't on the table as much. And if you put something on the table, people expect a little bit more freedom. Because in an MMO, the fact that as a warlock I cannot equip the two-handed greatsword makes sense to me because I chose the class warlock and I'm not going to be using that because I slam my one mouse button. I hit the one key on my keyboard repeatedly to use Chaos Bolt. I understand that. That's what I went going in, and I've been trained the entire time to know this. However, on the table, let's say a sorcerer, I want to have the option to do it, even though it's completely unviable, even though it's completely retarded. Having the option there is still, well, this is mine. Well, of course, I spent the points. I did my options. I have my rapier now. I'm a wizard with a rapier because I spec'd into martial weapons. Because I want martial weapons. But the other half of me doesn't want to do that either. A conundrum, I say. A conundrum. You know what? Fuck the equipment rank. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do the equipment rank because I don't think it's going to actually be of much value. I don't think it's really helping anyone by me adding it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to add Zweihander because I want more weapons because I actually don't have that many weapons. And tying into the various weapons, I think it's going to be handy overall, which brings me to the Fleece sword. Light, strength, or dex. Martial, and it's going to be graceful. Wield. Actually, give me a rundown on the Fleece sword. Yeah, by the way, there's a lot of fucking swords. There's a lot of swords out there. Fleece and martial, great. Yeah, graceful and dual wield. Alright, let's see. Okay. I like my swords. And then axes. What's a belova? Telling me what a belova is. I always love it how they have these like completely random axes here. And we'll call it the Executioner's axe. Martial. Obvious. Obvious. It's going to have Pierce 2 and gory. Actually, I should say gory and two-handed. Should I add some more axes? Riddle me this. Should we add more axes? Of course we should add more axes, because axes are cool. Actually, maybe I should spell executioner correctly. Wow, executioner. Executioner. Gory or two-handed. I feel like I should add one more axe to bring it up to axes. Actually, axe in Monster Hunter. Switch axe. Fantasy, actually. Fantasy axe. Offhand axe. Light. Strength or dex. Martial. It's going to only have Pierce 1. And it's going to have Pierce 1 and dual wield. Alright, there we go. I want every class weapon to have a super heavy in it, just so they have something. Okie dokie. If I can actually click on the right thing. Maces. Mace category. Ball and chain, club, flail, gauntlet, mace, warhammer, and what's another... God, what's that? Yeah, there we go. We'll call it the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut Maul. Super heavy. Strength or bit. Martial, it's going to have unwieldy. Obvious. Stun 4. And two-handed. Actually, we're going to call it Stun 3 instead. Yeah, Stun 3 and two-handed. What's another good fantasy mace? Another macy mace. Oh, truncheon. Truncheon, light. We'll call it dex, basic. Stun 1. And spears. Spear weapons. Give me spear weapons. I do like the fact that when I search Sword World RPG weapons, the second one to come up is the Roblox RPG, because of course it is. Why do I keep closing this? I should really stop closing this. Give me spears. What the fuck? Where are you? Dusting spear is primarily Germany, Austria. Give me some detailed spears. Ah, I know. Naginata, Naginata. Call this the heavy class. We're going to be able to use Vit, or actually Dex or Vit for it. It's going to be a martial weapon. It's going to be obvious, unwieldy, long distance melee, and two-handed. Actually, we're going to add graceful to that as well. Obvious, unwieldy, graceful, Naginata. What's some good? Oh god. We'll use this one. Alpha Cease. We're going to give that the actually what we can call it is call it the Guardian Thorn. Super heavy strength, or we'll call it strength or Vit. Make it a little bit martial, obvious, unwieldy, graceful, long distance melee, two-handed, actually gory and two-handed, has all the tags. Then we'll finally add the dueling spear in, which is going to be a light. And it's going to be based entirely on your dex. It's going to be a martial weapon, and it's going to be dual wieldable. And then finally, this brings us to spears. Oh god, I might do range weapons off camera, just because it's going to be a long ass time. And staff. keep hitting the wrong one. Staff, attribute dance, staff category, basic, ubiquitous. Great staff. Martial, strength. Actually, martial is going to be medium. Martial, ubiquitous, two-handed. It's just a big chunky staff. Iron tip staff. Heavy, strength, basic, two-handed, unwieldy. Actually, what I should make this is make this basic, make this martial. Martial, I mean. Come on, please type what I want you to type. And want some final good staff. Oh, great oak. Vit. Only Vit. Yeah, that's going to be obviously be martial. It's going to be two-handed, unwieldy, gory. And gory. As you just club a motherfucker over the head with your staff. Alright, now we get to do the fun part. Create a filter. Sort A to Z. Data. Turn off filter. Click. Data. Create a filter. Dun, da. Data. Turn off filter. Data. Create a filter. Boom. Data. Turn off filter. Axe. Data. Create a filter. Boom. Data. Turn off filter. Data. Create a filter. Boom. Done. There we go. We got all our nice weapons. So we technically should be adding the axe first. Technically, if we go down to equipment, bare essentials. Melee weapons. Melee weapons are divided between. Actually, no. Let's. And we'll say all weapons are assigned a damage class, which signify how much damage the weapon can do if it strikes an opponent. Armor is assigned an armor class. Armor class, we're going to explain that down below, so we're just going to explain the equipment. And all melee weapon. So we want to select everything. Oh god, it's lagging out. It's lagging out pretty hard. It does not appreciate this. Delete table. And then we want to, for the sake of ease, weapon class, weapon damage. basic, light, medium, heavy, super heavy. D3, D6, D6, 2D6, 3D6, 4D6. Paste unlinked. Okay, select everything. 12. Which one I should say? Boom. There's like a quarter-second delay between things I actually do when I click versus how they actually appear on screen. It is it's kind of a big oof moment, not gonna lie. Alright, so now we're going to hit that button. And we're going to start with the mace category. It's going to be axe, mace, spear, sword, no, spear, staff, sword. Yeah, sword's at the very bottom. Heading 2, I mean normal text. Paste unlinked. Next category, and will we be able to fit the maces in here? Yes, we will. Perfect. And close, close, close. And then it would be spear. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Yep. I am not going insane. Spear, and we will be able to fit staves in there, or staves, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And that brings us finally to the swords. At the very bottom. And everything's already Flysa. Flissa. Yeah, it's called a Flissa sword. Don't lie to me, Google. Alright. Long distance. It does not like it. Oh. Oh, God. My eye. Okie dokie, then. Might fix a little bit here just to spread things out a little bit more, but we've got all our weapons. Probably going to slap a picture right there. Now, for bows, I'm probably going to break it down into crossbows as well as actual bows, just for future reference. And let's say 2 units away, can attack from 5 feet away. Actually, what I can see, the weapons threat zone extends 10 feet. Natural part of the user, concealable with a dex check. Ubiquitous, found a costs nothing, tools. Resistance. Gory, ignore half of physical resistance. Dual wield, unwieldy. Defend against it. For no stamina. Awkward and clumsy to use. The opponent, the target gains. Target is allowed to attempt to defend twice. But mind you, if you do get hit by one of the, usually the thing with the unwieldy, it's you're kind of boned. Let's see, reload, trap, free hands. Okay. Cool. All right. I think everything works pretty well there. Armor, I kind of have the idea of what to do. Armor should be pretty fast to wrap up. I might do that again off screen. But thank you all for watching. I streamed for about an hour and 40 minutes. Didn't quite get as much done as I was hoping to get done today, but I also kind of got distracted by the fact that I had to fix health entirely, which was kind of annoying. But we fixed health, we fixed a lot of other little things. And tomorrow, actually probably not tomorrow, probably, oh, what day is today? So probably on Sunday is when the next stream will be. And that stream will be me pretty much summarizing a bunch of things. So if we go, let me just focus on the stats real fast. Zoom all the way up. So we're effectively done with equipment. I was trying to hopefully I thought I could get magic done today, but I'm going to have to do probably magic and races on Sunday. I have a few ideas of how I want to handle it, but it's nothing too concrete. I just need to put a little bit more oomph behind it. From there, races shouldn't be too difficult. I may be able to do that both on Sunday, probably in like an hour and a half. I'm lucky. Advancement will be pretty quick, depending on how things go, and from there we can work on enemies. Once everything that's done, I can work on the guilds and I can work on dungeoneering. Once those two bits are done, I'm good, and this project is done. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and Godspeed and good luck, everyone. We're gonna need it.